When you did memory allocation in C, you did memory allocation using malloc. Try to recall, along with memory allocation, you also did typecasting. You remember? But look at this, there is no typecasting here. No typecasting. Notice that there is no typecasting here in C++. You know, actually what happens is the typecasting is implicit. Implicit मतलब C++ अपने आप कर देती है, depending on two things. First is pointer type, ये. Second, data type of variable, that is this. Depending on these two things, and both the data types, that is the data type of the pointer and the data type that is given here, must match. Okay. This versatility of allocating memory dynamically, a versatile operator obtains memory from the operating system new and returns it to the pointer that points to the allocated memory. The new approach is superior in that it returns a pointer to the appropriate data type. You don't have to do typecasting. This is how it works. New pointer, new is a keyword, char data type for the variable, length is number of characters for which the memory is allocated. Notice there are brackets when we are using arrays, and data type must agree. This data type and this data type must agree. Pointer data type and this data type that is given must agree. Okay. So this is done using new keyword. The new keyword. Let me put this also. Pull this up for you for further reference in your Jamboard. Okay. Now, when the memory is allocated, the starting address is always stored in a pointer. You know that. And memory will be allocated in your C++ program like this. You will have a pointer that will be pointing to the memory, to be allocated, and the memory is allocated using new keyword. Memory is going to be for characters of length plus 1 bytes. Okay, plus 1 because you're going to store end of string character also. So this will be length plus 1 bytes will be allocated, and memory will be deleted using delete PTR if you are deleting memory for one single element, or memory will be deleted like this if you are deleting array wanted to by PTR. So like this. First let me put this. Yes, Gaurav?
So when we are deleting the array, don't we need to specify the size of the array?
No, not here, not needed. Now PTR is equal to new. The memory is allocated like this, or the memory is also could be allocated like this also. Now there is a difference between these two. Yes, Siddharth?
सर +1 का एक बार रिपीट कर दीजिए, क्या होता है?
हाँ, बताता हूँ. +1 because end of string character store करना होता है. You have to store the end of string character. For that we have to do +1. Now if you look at the first one, PTR is equal to new char. The memory is allocated for a single character. So when you do it like this, you are allocating memory for one single character. But when you're doing like this, then the memory is allocated for an array of characters. Here you notice the square brackets. And the number of characters in square brackets. Okay. I hope it is clear. Then comes this picture. Delete PTR means deleting memory that was allocated for a single element, single int, a single carry, a single float, to be single element. So you delete it like this. Let's not call it deleting, let's call it deallocating. Deallocating memory that was allocated for an array of elements. Okay. This is how this square bracket resembles that this pointer is going to point to an array. Okay. So this is how allocation and deallocation of dynamic memory allocation happens in C++ using the keyword new and using keyword delete. Let's have a look at some examples how we do this. So we are going to create a class here. Okay. The class is called DMA test, in which you have an integer in the private section and there is a constructor. Notice this is a constructor, isn't it? Let's see how we write this program. In main function, we are going to create a pointer to object. Notice we are not creating an object. It's not an ordinary object being created. Instead, we are creating a pointer to object. So when the pointer to object is created, is the constructor invoked? The answer will be no. If you create a object, memory is allocated immediately. Therefore, the constructor is created, invoked immediately. But when you declare a pointer to object, remember this one. Remember this. When you're creating pointer to object, the memory is not getting allocated. Memory will be allocated in line number 11 when you use new. So the constructor would be invoked here. Notice when the constructor is invoked. You will have begin statement executing and then the constructor will be invoked. New DMA test. Let's see what does the constructor do. Yes, Gaurav?
So, sir, the allocation for the pointer would be done then only after the invocation of object.
Can you repeat that?
So, after the object is invoked, then only the
Object is invoked is not a right word. You use the
constructor is
word
invoked.
invoke only when there is some code associated with that is going to execute. So the right word would be when the object is created, declared.
Yes. So will the pointer, the memory to the pointer be allocated then only?
No.
After.
So actually here we are not declaring an object, we are declaring a pointer to object. This is pointer to object, isn't it? So what is happening is a pointer is created here, fine, but the memory is not allocated to this pointer. Memory will be allocated to this pointer dynamically at runtime, and that we are done in line number 11. So it is here in line number 11 that the memory got allocated to the object. So here in line number 11, the constructor will get invoked, and here is the constructor. It will initialize 0 to the private member and say that the constructor began and ended. That's it. Yes, Gaurav?
So, sir, the pointer would be allocated memory here only in the 11th line.
No. We could say that's right actually, but the language is not correct. Pointer will be allocated memory is not right to say. Memory will be allocated for the object, will be right to say. Look at this DMA test. What is this DMA test? Huh?
Constructor.
Class.
Sir, class.
Okay. Or anybody?
Private class.
Private class. What do you say private class?
So DMA test is a constructor.
Constructor. Okay. So many new things coming up. DMA test is not a constructor. Yeah, you can say it's a class. It's used here with new. Look at this. What are you supposed to use with new? After new?
So here it is a character, like new character.
Data type.
Data type.
It's a data type. It specifies a data type. That's correct. It also tells you the size of memory to be allocated. So when we put here DMA test, it tells you how much memory to be allocated, what are the number of bytes to be allocated. It also tells you what is going to be the data type of the memory to be allocated. Okay. So here instead of int, char and float, I have put data type of the object. Yes. Memory will be allocated for the number of bytes required for object of DMA test, and memory will be typecasted for the object of DMA test. Yes, Siddharth?
सर पैरेंथेसिस नहीं यूज करें यहाँ
Square brackets? You mean to say square brackets?
कर्ली ब्रेसिस सर कर्ली नहीं वो सिंपल ब्रेसिस
Did I use somewhere?
Square
There are
bracket.
no simple braces ever used. I have not shown you. Not even curly braces. But yeah, we do use square brackets only when you have to create array of elements. But we are not creating array of elements. We are creating only one object. Therefore, square bracket is also not used. Any more question coming up for this?
So I have one question. So,
Mhm.
so DMA test is basically, as you said, that this is a class. That means DMA test is a class, a memory allocated for the class, or memory allocated for the pointer to the object.
If I create int star ptr, hmm, and then I allocate memory like this, ptr is equal to new integer. Now tell me, is the memory allocated for integer or ptr?
Is allocated for PTR.
Absolutely wrong. Memory is allocated for an integer which is pointed to by ptr. Okay. Similarly, in this case, memory is allocated for DMA test pointed to by OP. Now, what is DMA test? It is the name of the class, that's fine, but here we can say it is an object. Memory is allocated for this object of this type and is pointed to by OP.
Okay.
Let's try to run this. G++. We have a make file here. Make file. We are going to use C++ compiler, and these are the C++ flags. So the compiler will be used here, and the flags will be used here, and the appropriate compilation will be done. We have two files, the main.cpp and the constructor.cpp. Both will be invoked. Yes, Gaurav?
So are there certain definite names for the flags like say CF, CP and CF? Can we change these names?
We can change, these are variable names, CP and CF. We can change it.
Okay.
So let's make a variable OP for which we have allocated memory. Did you see that? But after memory allocation, we did not use it. That's why we are getting this error. Warning rather. Let's execute this. There it is. Main begin. See, first the main begin happened. Then the constructor got invoked when the memory was allocated. Notice. Then the constructor got invoked. And. So this is how you allocate memory. Now, if you look at this carefully, like at line number 11, an important point I want to make here is that the constructor would be invoked when the memory for the object is allocated. And would certainly be pointer to by ऑब्जेक्ट पॉइंटर. ठीक है, तो कंस्ट्रक्टर वहीं रन होगा जहां मेमोरी एलोकेट हुई है. द कंस्ट्रक्टर वुड be invoked where the memory is getting allocated. Constructor would not get invoked just by declaring pointer to object. Okay, this is an important thing for you to learn. I hope everybody is clear about this. Let's have a look at another example. Make clean everything gone. Now have a look at this class. In this class, just like before, no difference. Here again I have the pointer. Okay. Pointer to object. Here I am allocating memory for 10 objects. Did you see that?
Yes, sir.
So we can say
Yes, sir.
that. Allocating memory for 10 objects. That is one thing to know. If you are allocating memory for 10 objects, then this object pointer, which was earlier the object pointer, is now pointing to 10 objects. So
Yes.
it's an array of 10 objects. So this becomes pointer to array. Pointer to array of objects. So you can allocate memory for as many objects. This is a pointer to array of objects. Let's try to run this. Yes, Uwais?
सर जैसे हम इंटीजर के लिए मेमोरी एलोकेट करते हैं तो सर वो 4 बाइट लेता है.
हाँ
तो सर हम यहाँ डीएमएफ टेस्ट के लिए कर रहे हैं एलोकेट, तो ये कितने लेवल?
हाँ, अब ये डिपेंड करता है कि DMA टेस्ट क्लास के प्राइवेट सेक्शन में क्या है. इन द प्राइवेट सेक्शन यू हैव integer, so it will allocate space for integer per object.
ओके सर.
Let's try to build it. Again, the variable OP, that is a pointer, is allocated with memory but not used. So there it's giving you warning for that. We can avoid it for now, ignore it for now. See, memory is allocated for 10 objects, so the constructor is invoked 10 times. No? So the observation here goes something like this. As the memory is allocated 10 times for 10 different objects, therefore the constructor is invoked 10 times. Okay. The code snippet I'll share here with you so that you can refer it later on after the session. So this is how the dynamic memory allocation happens in C++. Okay, so guys, I'm out of time. That's what I had for you today. for dynamic memory allocation. We will continue our discussion in dynamic memory allocation in next session also.